Hello and welcome back to Startup Equity Basics. This is section 5. In this section, we're going to start looking at how you count equity, starting with authorized stock. So, what is authorized stock? This is stock that is authorized in the charter documents of the corporation. Charter documents refer to the articles of incorporation or certificate of incorporation. Each state will have its own nomenclature. But we will refer to it generically as the charter. Shares that are authorized in the charter but are not yet issued are sometimes referred to as treasury shares, and these shares are available for the board to issue. So, starting with authorized common stock, how do you authorize it? What's the language you use in the charter to authorize it? This would be a typical example. Corporation is authorized to issue one class of stock designated common stock. So first, we are defining what class of stock we are authorizing. Total number of shares of common stock authorized to be issued in this example is 10 million shares. So we define the class and we define the amount, the number of shares. This authorization will allow the board the right to issue up to that 10 million shares of common stock. Okay, now let's look at preferred. We want to add preferred stock to this authorization. How do we do it? First of all, it's going to be authorized separately in the charter. In other words, each class has to be separately stated, separately authorized. So, by example, this corporation is authorized to issue two classes of shares designated common stock and preferred stock. So first we set up and define the fact that we have two classes and what they are. Then we go into the numbers. The total number of shares of common, in this example, 10 million authorized. The total number of shares of preferred stock authorized to be issued is 5 million. Are we done? No, we're not done. Why? Because preferred can be and is going to be subdivided into series, and that has to be stated separately. 4 million of which are designated as Series A preferred stock, 1 million of which are designated Series B. So we've authorized 5 million preferred and further subdivided that 5 million into two designated series A and B and specified the number of shares for each of the series. All right, so what do we have? What have we authorized? What do we look like? By summary, 10,000 shares of common is authorized. Sorry, 10 million shares of common is authorized. 4 million shares of Series A, 1 million shares of Series B. Okay, simple, straightforward, easy, right? How many shares of common stock can the board issue given this authorization? Easy question. If your answer was 10 million, it is wrong. Why? Why isn't it 10 million shares? Because we said that in our startups, the preferred stock is convertible to common. We're going to make that as a basic assumption. All preferred is convertible to common. That means that the holders of the preferred can convert their preferred shares into common at any time. Because of that, we need to kind of reserve or set aside 5 million shares of the common stock for potential conversions. We have to have available the treasury shares, the 5 million shares of common stock, for the preferred in case they do convert, which means only 5 million of that common stock remains available for issuance by the board. Because we have 5 million shares of preferred that have been authorized, we're reserving, if you will, 5 million of the authorized common for conversion coverage and only allowing the remaining 5 million to be available for the board to issue. Okay, so what have we learned in this section on authorized stock? All classes of stock and all series of stock must be authorized in the charter documents. Separate authorization for common stock, preferred stock, and further designated for each series. preferred stock is convertible into common. So every time we have authorized preferred stock, we have to reserve that number of shares in the authorized common to cover the potential conversion. Therefore, the common available for issuance outside of that is reduced. Okay, that concludes this section 5.